hello, and welcome to Healthy Living, Happy Life, the podcast where smart, successful women in midlife learn how to thrive, not just survive, through the changes of menopause and beyond. Today's episode is going to challenge the way you think about weight, specifically belly fat, and why your body feel like it's fighting you. The truth is here, the real weight that you're carrying might be those extra pounds at all. It could very well be inflammation, an invisible fire smoldering inside your body. And until you calm that fire, no amount of dieting, willpower, or crazy exercise is going to give you the freedom and the confidence that you are craving here in midlife. So in this episode, we are going to uncover one, the hidden role of inflammation and how that plays in that stubborn midlife belly fat that we're all struggling with, really. Why markers like CRP and leptin are your body's red flags, and proven steps that you can take to finally melt the weight that's weighing you down from the inside out. So if you're ready to trade frustration for freedom, exhaustion for energy, and self-doubt for confidence, stay with me, because this conversation can absolutely be the turning point in your midlife journey. Hello, everyone. It's me, Denise Stegall, the Menopause Mentor, here with you again today for another episode of the Healthy Living, Happy Life podcast. So question for you to begin. What if the weight that you are carrying isn't just physical? What if that stubborn belly fat that refuses to budge has absolutely nothing to do with discipline, willpower, the latest diet, and everything to do with inflammation? You're not too old. You're not too lazy. You're not failing. And seriously, it is not too late to change things, right? What's happening inside your body right now is kind of like a firestorm, a very silent, invisible, and exhausting firestorm. And until you can calm that fire, all the dieting, punishing workouts, and all the self-criticism and self-deprecation won't get you the results that you are looking for. So today I'm going to show you how calming inflammation can finally free you from the weight that you have been carrying. So let's paint a picture here. You are a smart, capable woman who has achieved so much in life. You've raised a family. You've built a career. Maybe you've done both at the same time, right? You've kept the plates spinning, said yes to everything and everyone who ever needed you. And yet now you look in the mirror and you wonder, why can't I get rid of this belly fat? I've done all of these things in my life. Why can't I do this? Why does my body feel like it's working against me? Well, in a way, it is, but it really isn't. We'll get to that in a second. The extra weight around your midsection, the menobellies, I like to call it, is telling you a story, right? It's one of hormonal shifts, metabolic slowdown, and a body under siege from inflammation. Obviously, it's not just about how your jeans fit, though it is nice when they do fit and you can butt them. Okay, I get that. It's that visceral fat, that deep belly fat that we're talking about. And this isn't fat that's just passive storage, right? It's not just sitting there doing nothing. It's actually metabolically active. It's doing something. It is sending out distress signals, chemicals basically, that stoke inflammation in your cells, in your body. Essentially, you're carrying around, let's just say, a hidden furnace that's always smoldering. Crazy, right? So what's really happening? During menopause, we know this, our estrogen declines. I always pick on estrogen because this is the one that has over 400 different tasks in your body. There are estrogen receptors throughout your body. So this is really important as estrogen is declining, it's no longer protecting you, where it used to, or estrogen used to kind of direct fat all throughout your body, kind of a bit more evenly, right? And store evenly. Now, as it's declining, all of that fat kind of shifts towards the middle, towards that belly. And belly fat is actively metabolically active. Okay. It pumps out inflammation chemicals like cytokines, CRP, IL-6, and leptin. Now, I know I've talked about cytokines and IL-6 a couple of times in past episodes, but I want to talk a little bit more today about CRP and leptin. Before I get there, research shows that menopausal women, no, postmenopausal women have higher levels of these inflammatory markers compared to premenopausal women, right? So when we were in our 20s and 30s and even in our early 40s, this may not have been something that we have to worry about, even concerned with, really. The kicker here is even when the weight is the same, so if you're the same weight pre-menopause that you are post-menopause, okay, most of us are not, but this is what the study showed. That even still, because the estrogen is declining, the inflammation is increasing, and those inflammatory markers are higher. Another study found that visceral fat, actually, I love this one, this is crazy, actually accelerates the aging of your heart. What? And that is independent of BMI, body mass index. So that actually didn't have anything specifically to do in this study. Visceral fat actually was what they were measuring, not necessarily BMI. So again, inflammation is not a good thing. Having visceral fat around your belly and around your heart is detrimental to your health. We talk longevity. This is not something that is going to help you live longer, better down the road. Of course, stress always plays into inflammation. Stress basically is like pouring gasoline onto the fire, right? When we are stressed out, cortisol, another hormone, our stress hormone, signals our body basically to hold on to belly fat. Yay, isn't that great? While at the same time, it's disrupting our insulin sensitivity, right? So cortisol is definitely a challenge for us in midlife. We're not sleeping. It's our stress, our stress hormone is constantly elevated. Our sleep is completely sporadic, right? And it's like it's kind of like leaving your like the fire unattended overnight, right? Like you would never do. What happens? It spreads, obviously. So no wonder why we feel like our body is betraying us in midlife. But the truth is, I mentioned before, it feels like our body is betraying us. The truth is, your body is actually protecting you, right? It's raising alarm. It's raising the alarm. Hello, something's going on here. And when you learn to actually listen to your body, listen to what's going on and respond, everything changes. Our body gives us signals all the time. We have just gotten to a place where we're so busy and so involved in everything else that's going on in the world that we're not paying attention to our own body and the signals that are happening that our body is giving to us. So this is really where we need to step back and pay attention. So I'm going to get a little bit nerdy here because I want to talk a little bit more about CRP, not CPR. That's something totally different, and leptin, because this is really powerful stuff. And these are things that, I hear my husband, who is a surgeon, talk about, and a researcher, I hear him talk about these markers all the time of inflammation. So this is something that I hear all the time, and I understand more and more as time goes on, especially as I get older and do more research and more reading and understand more about how this affects women in menopause, because that's what I'm here to do. I'm here to help direct you, here to help you figure out what's going on in your body so you can go to your doctor and ask great questions, and make decisions based on knowledge and information, not just something you might have seen on a YouTube, or not YouTube, a Instagram post saying, hey, this is going to make you all better, right? We need to understand what's going on in our body. And this is something that's really serious that's going on in our bodies. So, these two markers basically tell us that belly fat in midlife is not about calories, it's not about um, willpower, right? It is about inflammation. Again, CRP, leptin. So let's first start with the CRP, which is actually called C-reactive protein, right? Think of this as your body's smoke alarm, right? It's made in your liver. And when inflammation is present, whether it's from stress, poor diet, hormonal changes, drop in estrogen, CRP rises. Okay. During menopause, obviously, the anti-inflammatory protection that it had been giving us is fading. So that's one of the reasons why CRP tends to climb in women in midlife and beyond. And that belly weight, less movement, add those two in, and you have got a recipe for chronic low-grade inflammation, right? Inflammation is good if you get a cut and your cells go and help to heal. When you have chronic inflammation, this is something that your body is constantly creating. It's constantly on, basically, constantly working overtime. So let's flip over to leptin. Leptin is produced in your fat cells. Its job is to tell your brain, I'm full, right? We've got enough energy stored. We talk about this leptin when we talk about food cravings and things like that, right? So leptin is something that we talk about quite often in weight loss. We don't really talk about it enough when it comes to inflammation and how that can affect how inflammation and leptin can affect our weight loss, right? So the more fat that you carry, right, the more leptin your body actually is producing. And over time, your body just stops listening, right? That's actually called leptin resistance. We talk about insulin resistance. This is actually leptin resistance. So basically, your I'm full signal is broken, right? So it's not just about appetite. It's a pro-inflammatory messenger. High leptin keeps your immune system in constant alert, fueling more inflammation, slowing down your metabolism even more. And of course, what does that happen? What happens then? More belly fat. So together with some of the other things we talk about in other podcasts, other cytokines, IL-6, and obviously many other things. There's a lot going on in the body. It's never just one thing, right? Together, like I said, these are your body's red flags. Hello. CRP, yes, I said it right. That's your smoke alarm, right? Showing that inflammation is present. Okay, leptin is we'll call it a faulty messenger, which is basically sending mixed signals that keeps that fire burning. So this is why in midlife, belly fat isn't just about lack of discipline and poor diet, any of that. It's actually your body's chemistry, your hormones, and inflammation all working against you, right? And once you address the inflammation, everything shifts. Switches, shifts. There you go. Either word, pick one. Think of it this way. Hold on, let me come up, since I've been talking about fire, right? Let's keep on the fire metaphor. Imagine your mind as a beautiful bonfire. Yes, I can speak today. When it's tended carefully, right? It gives off a nice, warm, light energy, nice glow. We're sitting outside. That's beautiful. But when sparks start to fly into dry brush, it's getting kind of fallish here in Minnesota. Right? Sparks then fly into the dry brush. Let's call that stress, poor food choices, lack of rest or exercise. Those embers get scattered, right? And they actually ignite inflammation. Fire starts to consume you. So we started off with a nice little bonfire, no big deal. Sparks started to fly, and all of a sudden you're in the middle of this firestorm, right? And inflammation is the fuel. All of these things are the fuel that's just adding to the fire, right? Belly fat, fatigue, brain fog. These are all smoke signals, right? These are all things that are telling you, hey, something's going on here. We need to pay attention. course, though, the good news is you can always calm the fire, right? Redirect the fire to actually fuel your body instead of fighting your body, right? So, what are the stakes if we don't act today? I've been talking about fire, right? The fire consumes you. But truly, if left unchecked, inflammation is more than, it's not just inconvenient, right? It's not just an inconvenience. It's actually a risk factor for so many diseases: heart disease, type 2 diabetes, osteoporosis, even Alzheimer's disease. This is scary. Research shows that there are links between belly fat in midlife and dementia risk. Dementia and Alzheimer's are similar but different, right? Alzheimer's is kind of the mother of all dementia, but it starts kind of with dementia and then it kind of gets progressively worse. So belly fat dementia, the more belly fat I have, the more risk I have to dementia. Whoa, hello. So this is not just about your waistline, right? This is about longevity, your memory, your confidence, and your ability to live a full life today, tomorrow, 20 years from today, right? So without action, that inflammation is going to steal of your energy. It's going to rob your joy. And it's basically just going to, kind of keep your confidence low because your body is not feeling good and you're going to feel like an older person way before your time, right? You're just going to say, people say this to me now, oh, I can't lose the weight, I'm getting old. If you're 50 years old and you're thinking you're old, what are you going to be when you're 80? If you make it to 80. So let me tell you this. You're not destined to just fade away and let this all just consume you. You're destined to thrive. That's what we're here for on this planet, not just to survive, but to absolutely thrive in what we're doing. So how can you cool this internal blaze? Always, 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 for those of you who listen to me on a regular basis, you know what I'm going to say. Eat real anti-inflammatory foods, right? Your whole unprocessed foods, colorful fruits and veggies, your lean proteins, your omega-3 rich fish and nuts and whole grains. I was just in Spain last week. Think Mediterranean style food. Again, this isn't about restriction. It's about nourishment, giving your body the foods and that it needs to fuel and to be able to work optimally. Optimally being its best. The next thing you want to make sure that we're doing is strength training. I know a lot of the things, I say a lot of the same things over and over because over and over again, it has been proven that these things, lifestyle changes, work. So strength training, 2 to 3 days a week, resistance training, reduces your belly fat, improves insulin resistance, insulin sensitivity, lowers inflammation. And of course, there's a bonus to that, right? You feel strong, you feel confident, start fitting in your jeans better. Next one, number 3, manage stress, right? Stress fuels inflammation. Stress fuels cortisol, which again disrupts our sleep, which increases our inflammation, right? Even 5 minutes of mindful breathing, journaling, taking a walk out in nature can completely just flip your nervous system into a more of a healing mode as opposed to a constant flight or fight mode. Number 4, sleep. Go to sleep. You need deep restorative sleep to lower those inflammation markers, right? So guard your bedtime like it's an appointment with, I don't know, the Pope. I'm not Catholic, but I don't know. He showed up in my brain. I guess because I was in Europe. Truly. And I've talked about, we always hear about the right things to do, make sure you go to bed at the same time and, no TV or screen time an hour before bed, all of those things. And all of those things are important, right? But what are the additional things that you can do that help you just fall asleep better? I just wrote an article that will be in the Fem City a blog. It's a organization that I belong to. And I talk about a couple of other things that are a little bit outside the box. Remember a couple of years ago, those weighted blankets were really popular, especially around Christmas time. Those actually help you to feel safe, to feel calm, and actually helps you to sleep a little bit, fall asleep easier. So let's think outside the box. Make sure that you're getting the sleep that you need. Okay, 7 to 9 hours, they say, at this stage in life. But you'll know when you're rested. If you wake up and you have energy and you're raring and ready to go, then you've had enough sleep. The last thing I'll say when it comes to how do we lower this inflammation or douse the flame of inflammation is to practice mindfulness or stress relieving mind practices, right? Your thoughts actually can shape your biology. From shifting from self-criticism to self-compassion literally changes the way your body processes stress. So your mind is kind of like that, I don't know, let's say thermostat for that internal fire. So if you're going to start somewhere, I always say start with real food. That is essential for our body, giving our body what it needs, but also our mindset is such a big piece of how we live and mindset. So don't overlook that as important just because I listed it number 5. So let's change the narrative, shall we? You're not fighting fat. You're reclaiming your radiance. You're calming the fire, restoring harmony, and stepping into a version of yourself that feels vibrant, confident, deeply alive. The way you used to feel before this menopause thing. So, calming inflammation in this way isn't about punishment, it's about freedom. We're freeing our body, we're freeing our mind, right? You have the power to take control of your health story. Honestly, you're the only one who can. So you don't need another fad diet that is destined to fail. You need a strategy that addresses the root cause. Inflammation. I've heard that enough today. So here's my invitation to you. If you are ready to calm the fire, melt the inflammation, and finally see that midlife belly fat released, not because you're starved yourself or punished your body, but because you've healed it, then it's time to take the next step. Schedule a call with me today. That link will be in the show notes. And let's discuss how the midlife metabolic flip, where you feel lighter, brighter, and more yourself than you have in years, can fit into your life and truly change it for good. I'm Denise Stegall, Menopause Mentor. I help you manage midlife and menopause, no sweat. Until next time, I'm Denise Stegall. Happy living, happy life. I'll see you soon. Thank you for joining me for another episode of Healthy Living, Happy Midlife. My hope is that today's conversation left you inspired, encouraged, and ready to take the next step toward creating a vibrant, fulfilling life that you deserve. Remember, you don't have to settle for fatigue, brain fog, or frustration. Midlife is not the end of your story. It's the doorway to your next best chapter. And I'm here to help you walk through it with energy, with confidence, and with joy. So if you're ready to take this journey further, I invite you to schedule a free strategy call with me. The link is in the show notes. And together we'll design a plan that works for you at this time in your life, for your body. So be sure to subscribe, rate, and review your show, the show on your favorite podcast platform. Catch the video version on YouTube so you never miss another episode. Share it with a friend who needs to hear that midlife can truly be the most powerful season of her life. Until next time, I'm Denise Stegall, reminding you that healthy living, happy midlife is just possible. It's yours for the taking.